Alternative Facts Chicago.
Chicago's #1 podcast.
Chicago. The city of Chicago. Alternative Facts Chicago.
Chicago's #1 podcast.
I'll make a scene.
Audio production.
The city of Chicago.
So we are back from Thanksgiving break. Kind of missed you, Cait. It's been quite a while, but this is episode 68 of Alternative Facts Chicago. How are you?
Good. How are you?
You rested?
Yes.
You've been like all over the world.
I've been in New Mexico.
That's halfway across the country.
Okay.
That is across the
I
country.
don't know about like the world, but yeah, like I've been out of town.
Cait said she's not going to talk about her trip, but we're going to talk about it here in a little bit.
Okay.
Absolutely. Crazy. So how small is this world? So I go out here out of our studio to let somebody in who's here for a networking event on this floor. I go out there and the dude's like B.Hun and I go B.Hun. So this kid, Mark B.Hun, that I went to high school with, who I have not seen since high school, is literally here. I talk about a small world. How crazy is that?
Crazy.
Just because he didn't know you, don't be jealous over there. I'm pretty hyped. That actually made my day. Yeah. B.Hun was the man. Good. Haven't seen him in a while. I knew he lived in Chicago too. I just never ran into him. So those that are listening that went to U of D Jesuit, the best school ever, shout out Mark B.Hun. It was good to see him. So Chicago's crazy. You like always have random run-ins. And I love it. But enough of that. Let's get back into it. It's been a while. I know we had last week off. So Cait, plug our social media. Where can you find us?
Check us out on Twitter, AFAC Chicago, and then on Instagram and Facebook at Alternative Facts Chicago. Of course, I am on Instagram at Cait, Cait, no Jenner, and on Twitter at Cait Hassett.
And you can find me at B.Hun 1984. That's B.Hun 1984. You can always email us too at alternativefactschicago@gmail.com. Sponsorship ideas, any type of relationship advice, and more. You can always find us there as well. You can find our show on iTunes at Alternative Facts Chicago. Make sure to leave a rating and review. And also, we're still on SoundCloud as well as Spotify, Google Play, and wherever you can find us on all major podcast platforms. But we have our live show coming up this Sunday, which Cait's going to promote here in a minute. So I know this episode, we're going to try to keep it short and sweet for you guys. But this Sunday's a big day. Very excited. The Chicago Podcast Festival has started this week. So what can we tell the fans about this Sunday?
Come see us live. You basically just said it all. Chicago Podcast Festival is going on now. Our episode is this Sunday, 7:30 at Chicago Theater Works. Tickets are just $14, and we have the link all over social media. So if you follow me, B.Hun, or the podcast, you'll be able to get the link for the tickets. And of course, we'll be joined on stage by the Southside Heat podcast. That's Antoine Walker, NBA legend, and Clement Townsend. They have a great following and lots of sports stuff. So I think we will vibe with them very well, and we hope to see you there.
So I think our show is first, if I remember the order. Did you get a chance to look at it?
No.
I'm pretty sure our show is first, so it'll be right at 7:30, there to follow. They'll be closing out the night. I'm not sure, but it may be one of the final actual podcasts of the entire week. So I know it started this past week on Monday, goes all week through this weekend. I know we're going to try to get out on Friday night or Saturday night to a show. So it's a great event. Shout out to Liz as well as Kelly. They're doing an amazing job. So we'll be out there this weekend. It's a great time. If you've never been to a live podcast, it's a lot of fun. So Sunday, 7:30 at Chicago Theater Works, $14 tickets. I can't wait. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
It'll be a lot of fun. So make sure you come out and support Alternative Facts Chicago. We appreciate you. And now, before we get into a couple of topics, got to give a quick shout out. This fan of the week, actually a good friend of mine. He actually listens to the podcast. He has for since the inception, since the start. He lives in Miami, so glad we're national, getting a lot of love all over the place. But this guy, Dennis Brown, and I'm going to give him a special shout out as being a fan of the week because he did a proposal this past week that has actually been trending all over social media. A lot of the big blogs, music blogs, any type of website has picked it up. You can find Dennis at D Experience. That's XPERIENCE. PERIENCED.experience. Make sure you check it out. He proposed to his wife with not 1 ring, not 2 rings, but 6 rings. It was very impressive. It's something I've never seen before, and it's trending like crazy. An amazing idea. Dennis is an awesome dude. He's definitely destined for greatness, so make sure you check him out. He does listen to this episode and every episode, so he gets a shout out as fan of the week, but I wanted to make sure you go check him out because it's actually a great, a big thing. Would you be cool with getting 6 rings from a guy for an engagement?
I mean, it's like a dumb question. Like, do you want 6 rings? Like, absolutely. What girl does not want 6 rings?
That's never. I've never seen it happen before.
No, it has not. I mean, I think it's excessive, but
okay,
good for her.
Yes, obviously she picked one. I'm not sure what happens to the other 5.
She doesn't get to keep all 6?
No, you pick the one that you want.
Whatever.
But I think he gave 6 rings as an option. You got to pick which one that you want. Clever idea. I've never seen it before.
Interesting.
Very interesting. But I thought it was a cool gesture. So shout out Dennis Brown. He's the man. If you see him down in Miami, say what up. He's actually blowing up out here. So he's actually a really good dude. So you are our Alternative Fact Chicago fan of the week for the week of November the 28th. Now, Thanksgiving was last week. I had a busy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I bet you did. What'd you do?
What the hell did you do? I want your answer first.
I just asked you first. I think on this agenda here it says my name next to Thanksgiving recap, which means I'm supposed to intro Thanksgiving. I don't know. You don't really know how this works sometimes, but let me teach you. So we just came off of Thanksgiving, and we skipped a week, and we missed you so much. B.Hun, how was your Thanksgiving?
Mine was great, yet busy at the same time. I really didn't get a chance to rest.
Yeah.
So I needed a Thanksgiving break from the Thanksgiving break. So my homie Jordan, he got married this past weekend. So Wednesday night, I got home Tuesday night to Detroit. Wednesday night, had to go to a bachelor party, which we won't talk about. Thursday was
why won't we talk about it?
Because you don't talk about what happens at a bachelor party. It was good, clean fun.
Oh, sorry.
We just sat in a circle, did prayer circles.
Yeah, obviously.
Talked about the word of God, talked about our plans, business ideas for 2019.
Perfect.
The standard bachelor party stuff. So that was a lot of fun. Thursday, had my daughter in town, did the Thanksgiving family thing, and my family drinks, man. We party. So that was a crazy day. A lot of fun. Shout out to the Hunter family. Then Friday had the wedding rehearsal, wedding dinner. Saturday actually had the wedding itself and then the reception. Keep in mind, I wasn't in the wedding. Like, I was almost like an alternate. Like if you were at a Pro Bowl, the NFL Pro Bowl, and one of the players can't play, and then if something ever happens, like they have the alternate come in, I was that person. So wasn't in the wedding, but still, they let me do everything. I got to ride the party bus with them. Those are my good homies. So it was a good time. A lot of drinking, a lot of fun, but I would say the Dent family did it right for a wedding. Actually, a lot to look forward to. I'm like, man, when I get married one day, if that ever happens, I got to do a wedding like that because they did it right. So shout out Jordan. Had a great weekend. Back in Chicago now, and it's freaking cold. It's like too cold. I'm kind of over it. But what did you do? I kind of want to hear about your New Mexico trip.
Yeah, I went to New Mexico. So I went to Thanksgiving at my aunt and uncle's. They live out here in the burbs. So that was cool, and hung out with their family. It's like my uncle by marriage, so it's all his family, but they're super welcoming and had a great time. And then I left on Saturday and flew out to New Mexico. Spent a couple days there off the grid doing the outdoorsy stuff,
right.
And not working, relaxing. I got a text message, 2 text messages from work within 3 hours of waking up on Monday. So that was cool.
Wow.
So hence why I turned my phone off and nobody could get in contact with me.
Don't
Sorry.
you hate when you're on vacation yet they still text you about work stuff?
Yeah, I just didn't answer. But
Good
you
for
know
you.
that I just don't answer texts I don't want to. So.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
You know how many times he's ignored my text?
Yeah, don't talk to me about work when I'm off. Sorry. Not sorry, actually. But yeah, I had a great time. I totally did all the outdoorsy stuff, all the touristy stuff, and had a blast. My flight was delayed yesterday because of all the snow you got. I missed it, so that was
Snow
great.
we got.
Yeah.
The crazy part is
That's
we
what I
didn't really
said,
get
too.
much snow in Detroit, which Detroit gets a lot of snow. You get across to Illinois and it's just a ton of snow.
Yeah.
I feel like we're
When
gonna
did you get back in town?
I got back yesterday, actually.
Oh, okay. Gotcha,
so,
yeah.
and by then the snow was over, but once I got off the train, it was freezing. It was freaking cold.
It was very cold.
Kind of over it. And someone told me today that we still have 3 more weeks until it's officially winter.
Oh, wow.
How much of a dagger to your heart is that?
Yeah, I definitely didn't know that.
Exactly. But at least we're getting to December 21st, which is the shortest day of the year. Then it's like a light at the end of the tunnel because it's starting to get dark at like 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
I know.
it's crazy.
It's like harder to get out of bed in the morning and all that.
Yeah. Well, it's not as dark in the morning.
Yeah.
But it sucks when you like get off work and it's pitch black. And
You
you're
get
just,
up
like,
way earlier than I do. You're up at like 4 in the morning.
I don't get up. That's a very blatant exaggeration.
Totally made that up.
Definitely don't get up at 4 in the morning.
Awesome. So you had a good time though?
I did.
Glad to be back in Chicago?
Sure.
Sure. That sounds like a no, but it's all good.
Sure.
Was there a lot of desert out in New Mexico? That's like all I think of Breaking Bad.
Yes. Yeah, the whole thing's a desert.
I think like of just one big Breaking Bad episode of nothing to do.
No, there's actually a ton to do.
Interesting.
And also New Mexico is like number 2 in the world, or Albuquerque, where I went, is like number 2 in the world for like microbreweries. So we hit up a bunch of those, and that was super fun. That's like my favorite thing to do when I travel is drink.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Facts. You gonna drink a lot on Sunday for our show?
Can I go drunk?
Absolutely.
Is it allowed?
That's preferred.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Because then you'll make an ass of yourself on stage and we'll laugh at you.
No, I will not make an ass of myself on stage.
But yeah, we'll definitely have to have a couple of drinks. So it sounded like you had a good time.
Yeah.
I had a good time too. Christmas will be coming up as well. It's actually going to come up fast. New Year's plans coming up soon too. So we got a lot to look forward to. But make sure you come out to our live show Sunday because we would appreciate it. And now, and I know you've been kind of off the grid, so you kind of haven't really been following this story. But we kind of got to talk about this. It actually has been the biggest story in music nationally throughout the past week. It's our homie Tekashi 6ix9ine and his.
Is he our homie?
My homie. I actually kind of like him.
Oh, okay.
I actually kind of like the kid. No matter what. Obviously, 'cause the only reason I like him because I don't think he's as bad as like the image he portrays. He's kind of like playing it up for social media. Mm-hmm. Problem is, it backfired him. Now he's arrested by the feds and he's sitting in jail. So for those who have been living under a rock, I'll be quick with a little bit of the backstory, but essentially he's in jail right now. He's been transferred to a different jail, but him and some of his compadres from, I forgot the name of the gang that they were called, like Treyway Gang or something like that, which all of a sudden he's claiming he was never part of. He's basically in jail on like RICO charges, firearm charges, robbery charges. Essentially right now they're loading up on a lot of charges to get this guy, which would call for a minimum of 32 years in prison to a maximum of life in prison. And now what's happened is the trial, he's pled not guilty. The trial has been set for September of 2019, so we have a long time. He has been denied bail as of right now. I know his lawyers are going to be trying to get him bail at another hearing coming up very, very soon. With that being said, he's basically being considered as the ringleader of the band of this gang. He's tried to get out of the gang, saying he's no longer part of it. He fired his entire management team to go out on his own. He had an album, a music album that was supposed to come out this past Friday. That got pushed back. It leaked over the weekend, so they actually did release his album. Dummy Boy came out just yesterday. I haven't had a chance to listen much to it yet, but I will very soon. So his real name, Daniel Hernandez. He's 22 years old. He really only came out a year ago, November of last year. His song Gummo came out. So in 1 year, he went from the top of the music game to in jail facing 32 years to life. How does that happen? What's going on? Is he just an idiot, or is he being set up by the feds in New York to make an example out of him?
I think he's just an idiot. I just think that he's an idiot, honestly. I think he's making a lot of bad decisions, and it goes back like prior to all of this, like all the gang related stuff he's into right now. I mean, he's also been accused of like what's the word I'm looking for? Not rape, but battery on his girlfriend. He's been accused of robbery. He's been accused of like other things before. So, I mean, this is just a 22-year-old guy who's just not making the best decisions in life, and then also happens to be musically talented. And I will say that he is. I like his music a lot. He looks like an idiot, but
right.
I do like his music. And I did listen to a little bit of Dummy Boy on the way here. Not all of it, but just a little bit on the train. And it's pretty good. And I like him, but I just think he's dumb. dumb. I just think that some of these kids just have like a weird view of like what hip hop is and like what they should be as hip hop artists, and they're doing dumb stuff. And yes, I think that they're gonna make an example out of him, and he's not gonna get out for a while. But obviously, he's not hurting because of it. He just released an album. He's number 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the charts right now. Like, he's making enough money to fill his commissary, so he's good, you know.
But it sounds like they froze all of his money in bank accounts as well as his mom's too. So he can't.
Really?
Yeah, the feds have frozen them. So obviously he has no access to his money right now. It's all just sitting there. So any money that he makes, I don't know where it's going, but he can't touch it.
See, and I have a problem with that because obviously the money coming in from the album right now has nothing to do with anything gang related. It's music related.
Agreed.
So yeah, I have an issue with that. I don't like that. But yeah, I mean, he's talented. People are like lining up to work with him. Obviously, he's got this song with Nicki. Torey Lanez has been talking about working with him. Kanye's been talking about working with him, which Kanye's judgment is
right.
It's questionable. But yeah, I just think that they're kind of making an example out of him right now. He's made some bad decisions, and unfortunately, he's just in the limelight while he's doing so. But would we even really be talking about him if he wasn't in this position is the question, because I feel like a lot of people went and like picked up Dummy Boy like because he's all over the news right now. So agreed
on that too. And his rise to fame was based off of his social media antics,
for sure,
and the music came second.
Yeah,
where he went right is his songs. If you hear him in the club or at a festival or something, the crowd loves him, the fans love him. I guess like when he like bombarded Power 105.1, like their little Christmas show that they did, he did like a 5-song set, and they said his set out of nowhere was by far like the best of the night, even over Cardi B. So he has that type of impact to where he gets a reaction. So he was actually headed somewhere. The sad part is, he's 22 years old. Right. I feel like he was just getting to a point in his life to where he kind of realized the error of his ways and was starting to make a switch and kind of realize, hey, I need to smarten up. I can actually have a real career right now. But obviously it was a little bit too late. And I think maybe he saw the end coming of this happening and was trying to fire his old management, saying he wasn't in a gang. But unfortunately, it was just a little bit too late. I think the problem is where he went wrong. All of this happened in the state of New York. And we know the state of New York does not play when it comes to these charges. Right. I was talking to my homie Steve a little bit this morning about it. And Lil Wayne went through this. Joel Santana, the rapper, is going through this right now. Bobby Shmurda went through this a few years ago, and it's like history is repeating itself to where Bobby Shmurda, when he got in trouble in his gang charges, he wasn't doing it at all, but the feds pinned it on him as saying essentially he was the ringleader of the band. If someone's going down, you're going down for this, even though you really weren't the actual person like doing all of this. And I feel like it's the exact same situation with Tekashi 6ix9ine, even to the fact where I don't think they have legitimacy for a lot of these charges, even though when they say the feds are involved, they do. They may have some of it, but the fact that they're making the trial so far out in September, they're going to have him sit in prison so he can cook and stew over this. And then 2, they may not have enough charges to where they're going to need some months to like build a case against him. So they're like, all right, let's put this guy in jail. Let's say he's in danger for his life, so he's off the streets, and let's let him sit for a while. And the funny thing is they did this the week of his album coming out. So there's a lot of fishiness going on. It's like a lot of this was set up to do this week, and I really don't know. But this him doing this in the state of New York was the worst time for it to happen. New York does not mess with hip hop, and this was just a way to set an example. So yes, he's an idiot. Yes, he has great music. I don't think this is all legitimate. He wasn't the person doing it, but the feds are making an example out of him. So I think he's screwed, and I think he's probably going to get a solid 8 to 10 years in prison, and then he'll be back out similar to Bobby Shmurda.
Cool.
I think so. It sucks. It's unfortunate. I know a lot of people have been talking about this in the past, couple of weeks. I wish him the best. Like for the person, I don't wish jail on anybody on their worst day. So I can only imagine what he's going through. And then him getting transferred to another center saying this is where people in the feds who are going to cooperate and collaborate with the feds. So it's a lot going on, a lot to unpack on this. We don't have time to talk about it all. But unfortunately, it's just sad for him, his family. He's got a kid to support, and he can't do that right now. He's sitting in jail. So sad situation. We'll have to see how it all plays out. But that guy's screwed.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel bad for him, but we'll keep on that. Let us know your comments on the situation, where things stand. But Tekashi 6ix9ine, good thing he has an album out because it may be the last music we get from him for quite a long time.
I don't know, though, because, we hear about artists dropping albums from jail, so they'll figure it out.
That's true. You think? I mean, yeah. You think he has like a bunch of music saved up?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he probably saw this coming.
I mean, even just like on his Breakfast Club appearance last week, it was all kind of like foreshadowing. Like he knew something was going to happen. He said like the only things he fear are God and the FBI, and he like really dwelled on that.
Right.
Like, really, really hit it. And he's known for saying some dumb stuff, but I don't know. It feels like he knew.
Absolutely. So more to come on that. So stay on your toes. But for now, let's take a quick sponsorship break. This Everything Chicago segment is sponsored by the Wrigley Report. Cubs fans, if you're looking for the latest Wrigley renovations, updates, team news, player analysis, and overall Cub news, look no further than the Wrigley Report, your source for all Chicago Cub news. Find us on all social media sites at Wrigley Report. Once again, that's at Wrigley Report. And it's our homie Jason's birthday today. So happy birthday to Jason. Great dude. And we're going to be talking about the Chicago Cubs here in a little bit. But what's going on in our city?
Well, now that it's officially snowed here in Chicago, I guess we can start talking about Christmas.
Oh, man.
Which means all the Christmas pop-up bars. This was like my favorite part about moving here last winter. Everyone was like, oh my God, you're moving to Chicago in the winter. It's going to be so cold. But literally, I hit up so many Christmas bars, and that was like nothing I'd ever seen before. So it was really fun. If you haven't done one before, definitely check it out. We talked about, what's the Christmas place?
Chris Kendall?
Chris Kindlemark.
Yeah.
Chris Kringlemark. Yeah.
There you go.
Is back. And so like Christmas is just taking over the city. There's a list on ChicagoEater.com of like the top 15, a couple that are right like in our area, in the Wrigley area. One of which that looks really fun at Deuces called Santa Baby, also at the Diamond Club.
Yep.
So that'll be really good. And then Elfed Up at Stretch. It's gonna be like Elf, the movie Elf, which is one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time, and they're going to do a tribute to that movie, and there's going to be Santa's cookies passed around, and it's going to be a great time. Do you like Christmas pop-up bars is the most important question. Do you like Christmas?
I do.
The most important question.
I do love Christmas. I just wish it was warmer, but yeah, I love Christmas holiday, exchanging gifts, family time. Thanksgiving and Christmas is always a good time, so I'm down for that.
Cool. You going to hit up some bars?
I would love to check out the first one you mentioned at Deuces and Diamond. That looks pretty dope. One at Stretch looks pretty dope. Obviously, we live by there.
And then Frosty's Christmas Bar is back. That's like the 4-level one.
Yeah.
It's been around for like a few years. It's open like really late, so that one's always fun.
Some of these, like you can check it out. It's on chicago.eater.com. But some of these I've never heard of, like some of these places like Sable Kitchen and Bar. Never heard of it. The Gwen. I have heard of that one. Italy I've heard of. Estate I've heard of. Slay Baby at Estate actually might be kind of cool.
Yeah, some of them aren't really like bars. Like Italy's not a bar.
Right.
But
Frosty's Christmas Bar is on here too.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's pretty dope. And I like that Chicago does this time of year. That they kind of like switch up their bars to get in the spirit. A lot of cities don't do that. So I'm glad that they do. So make sure you check it out.
Yeah. Don't be a Grinch. Wear your ugly sweater. And
don't be a Grinch.
And drink and celebrate Christmas.
Absolutely. Exactly what Kate said. So make sure you check that out.
Exactly what Kate said.
Facts. What else we got? Oh, that's me. That's you.
Me?
Yep.
Why me?
Because.
Oh.
Let's talk about the mayor. Who do you want me to talk about this? I actually like this article, this story. This is going to be a good one.
Oh, great. I'm so excited. So Chicago's next mayor is on its way. The next mayor race is on its way to becoming one of the most crowded ballots in the city's history. There's 21 candidates filed nominating petitions by Monday's deadline. And then, of course, we're going to vote on February 26th. I thought it was really interesting. The last time Chicago had an open race for mayor was in 2011. Yep. That's when Mayor Daley announced that he'd retire after being our mayor for 22 years. And that year, 20 candidates filed. So almost as many as this year. Only 6 ended up on the ballot. And then obviously Emmanuel won with 55% of the vote. So lots going on right now. Lots of people in the running for our mayoral race. How many do you think are going to make the ballot? And do you have any favorites right now?
I'm kind of curious of how people get knocked off of the ballot from the 21. So I know you had to get a certain number of signatures to be allowed on the ballot. That's how we got to the 21 so far.
It was like 12,500, right?
Correct. But how do they determine who doesn't make the final ballot? I know they're doing the election on February 26th, which will determine like the final 5 or 6. But I don't know like if you have to get a certain percentage of the votes or you're out or what. That part I'm still confused on. But the list, I was actually reading it. It's all over the place, which it's not like there's a state controller, Susan Mendoza, Cook County Board President, Tony Preckwinkle, hell of a name. Hope if he won, imagine having
Chance the Rapper's dad's kid.
Oh, yeah. Imagine having to say Preckwinkle all the time. Former Chicago Public School CEO Paul Vallis is running. I know Superintendent Gary McCarthy. He's a big name. He might make one of the final ones. He's running. Who else? Federal Prosecutor Lori Lightfoot's running. Who is Chance the Rapper's director? Is it Mayoral? She's running. An attorney's running. John Kozler. So the fact is an entrepreneur, a tech entrepreneur, Neil Sales Griffin's running. So the fact that what if a tech entrepreneur won mayor of the city? So it's just the fact that there's so many different types of names. It's all over the board. There's a lot to choose from. Man, Chicago, I really hope they don't screw this one up.
Well, and I think it's so interesting because we saw this year in the governor's race how slandery it can get, right? Like, I feel like all of it was slandery. And so I feel like with this many people on the board, it's definitely going to make the potential candidates in a race to eliminate the competitors who pull from the same base of voters as they do. Like, I feel like it's going to get a little slimy. They're going to see a lot more of those slandery type ad campaigns.
I feel like that's what all these races have become. Like, even for the primaries, all the races, all the commercials you saw were just slandering people. So I feel like that's just kind of where we are in our times. And unfortunately, don't want to mention our president, Donald Trump, but I feel like he's kind of spearheaded that to where it's like that's how you win a race now, is just slandering your opponent. But now these people have 20 other opponents to slander. Yeah, so if I had to take a guess off the top of my head of who will make it very far, can't even come close to predicting a winner yet. But the Chicago Police Superintendent, Gary McCarthy, he's very popular in the city. I don't know if he'll win, but I think he'll make it far. Obviously, Chance the Rapper's advocate, Austin Chamber of Commerce Director, Mayoral Elije, she'll probably make it far. Tony Preckwinkle will make it far. I'm not sure about the Chicago Public School CEO. I like for this tech entrepreneur, Neil Sales Griffin, to make it far. And I don't know anything about this person, but hell, why not switch it up for the city?
Yeah.
We just don't need more of the same. I feel like we need to completely switch it up for the city, do something right. Southwest Side Attorney Jerry Joyce, I didn't even see that. There's an activist, Jamal Green. What if an activist won the mayor? That would be nuts. So all I say is, people in Chicago, if you're listening, just do your research, pick the right person for you, but don't just pick based off what your friends do. Yeah, we have a lot of time. But it's going to get nasty, so they're going to start dwindling down. I'm not sure who will make the final ballot, but this is probably the biggest race we've had in a long time in the city. So this will probably set us up for the next 10 years in the city. So please I really hope Chicago gets this right.
Awesome.
Next, so Jesse Chavez plays for the Chicago Cubs. This is a big offseason for the Chicago Cubs right now. After they had a great regular season, they died out at the end of the regular season and then barely didn't even make the playoffs. Like, they had 3 home games to clinch a playoff spot. Could not do it. But they're already making some changes to the team. Jesse Chavez, he's a veteran. He is not returning to the Chicago Cubs. That's one move that's already not happened, and we lost him. So there are going to be some big changes to the team. Bryce Harper of the Washington Nationals, who turned down a record $300-some million contract with the Nationals to be a free agent. He has been seen in Chicago a couple of times the past couple of weeks. So what do you think is going on with the Chicago Cubs? Do you think Bryce Harper is going to end up here, or do you think the Chicago Cubs will stay pat and keep what they had and kind of roll with it for the next season?
Yeah, I think all the moves the Cubs are making right now are just strategy based on the fact that we didn't make the playoffs because of just how tired and low the team was last year. You know, everything that happened with Addison Russell and how that all went down, just rapport was down. And so I feel like that's why they're making these moves right now. I know a lot of people are upset to see Jesse Chavez not return to the Cubs. I mean, he was he had a huge fan base.
Right.
We wound up seeing him as a really good player, one of our most trusted relievers, especially in the final weekend of the season when Morrow and Strop were both hurt.
Yep.
So it was awesome to have him. He had a great fan base. I mean, 39 innings and 32 appearances in the season, and people were seriously this upset that he was leaving. So I think that says a lot about our franchise and what they're trying to do right now, and just how they're trying to bring in people who are going to stick around and who are going to do a lot spot for the city. So with that being said, I actually really do now believe that Bryce Harper is going to sign with the Cubs. I think that this is all like a strategic move, how they're trying to make the team like more united.
Yep.
And, obviously he's really tight with Rizzo, and Rizzo's another like Chicago loving family man, which is the image that, Harper portrays. And I think it's all just strategy at this point. And I think it's kind of foreshadowing of what's coming next.
Absolutely. And I think for the Cubs to really bring some excitement into the team for next season, obviously they can bring the exact same players back and they will be in the race for next season. But I think to send a shot in the arm of the fans and Major League Baseball, if they can get Bryce Harper here to play in that outfield, just imagine how crazy Chicago fans would be. Just how seeing him play all next season in Wrigley Field, that would just be amazing. Every game will be sold out. Not that they aren't already, but I think it's almost destined that he comes here. He's good friends with Rizzo, Chris Bryant. Honestly, it all makes sense. So I think he would fit perfectly here in the city. I had some friends like, oh, they don't want Bryce Harper here, this and that and the other. Shut up, you're lying. You definitely want Bryce Harper here. I even want Bryce Harper for Chicago. So I think that'll be great to see. Yeah, Wrigley's a cool town, cool area, especially when the Chicago Cubs are winning. They just revitalize the entire area. It's pretty dope to see. So I think he should and will be a Chicago Cub. But yeah, after that, then all the pieces and dominoes will come into play. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. Hopefully it happens very soon.
Agreed.
Look at you up on your baseball knowledge.
Yeah, I know a thing or two.
A thing or two? Absolutely. So that's our Everything Chicago. We're going to keep it short and sweet for this episode. What else we got?
We're going to jump into quick hits, but first we got to say thanks to our sponsor, Posh by Amani, women's apparel boutique based out of Houston, founded on faith, love, and the right to stand out, serving all women one curve at a time with their quality, affordable, and chic apparel. Of course, they're offering free shipping right now until the end of the new year. Lots of clothes on their website, lots of brand new merch, so check them out, poshbyamani.com. Also on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Posh by Amani. That's IMANI. Jumping into quick hits, Chicago Bears. Yeah, I just gotta laugh. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna bring it up. I'm not gonna rub it in.
Oh, God.
You know me better than that. But they did go undefeated this entire November. They're 8-3, number one in the NFC. Certainly a lot to like about this Bears team right now. And I think it's interesting because we've just become accustomed to the Bears not being good.
Right.
And so now we're back with the second-year quarterback, new and improved. This defense that's not really giving up a ton of points, and the monsters of Midway are back, but are they Super Bowl contenders?
So I won't say they're Super Bowl contenders yet. I'm looking at the rest of their regular season. They have the Giants this week, where they should win, so that'll be 9 wins. The Rams are going to predict a loss. They have the Packers again, which I'll predict a loss. They'll beat the 49ers. And then the Bears and Vikings is a toss-up. So based off of that, I'm seeing 10 or 11 wins on their schedule, which will definitely get them in the playoffs. Their defense can help them win a game or two in the playoffs. I'm just not sold on Mitch Trubisky having to have you win a game in the playoffs. Not yet, just because he's so young. So for that reason, I'm going to say no, but they are definitely a playoff team. And even them just making the playoffs this season after the last few seasons, I think that's a big step, a big win. And the city of Chicago is better when the Bears are good. Like every Sunday, people actually want to watch the games now. So I'm for them making the playoffs, but not a Super Bowl contender just yet.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've been saying this from the beginning. I think that they're a really good team. I think Mitch has really just come out of his shell, but I don't think he's a quarterback who can lead a team to a Super Bowl. So that's what's really hurting us right now. Obviously, the defense looks fire, but Trubisky's just not quite there yet. So I think we'll make the playoffs, but definitely not going all the way.
For sure. Next, does Northwestern football have any type of a chance during the Big Ten championship game this Saturday night against Ohio State? And man, I can't wait to give Jim Harbaugh the clown of the week because he deserves it. But before we do that, does Northwestern have a chance this Saturday?
You're asking me first?
Absolutely.
I think no. I don't think Northwestern has a chance at all. Ohio State looks really good, just to be honest. I mean, they're just a high-powered team. They got that quarterback, Haskins. He's amazing. Definitely a Heisman Trophy candidate for sure. And I just feel like they have excellent running backs, J.K. Dobbins, Mike Weber. They're just a really, really fantastic team. And I don't feel like Northwestern has the same kind of firepower as the Buckeyes do. And so I feel like Ohio State all the way.
I don't appreciate you giving all this love on Ohio State here and hyping them up. But,
sorry.
But Looking at the stats, so Ohio State is 61-14-1 in their series against Northwestern, including a 6-game winning streak, and have won 30 of their last 31 games against Northwestern.
Right.
Short and sweet, Northwestern has zero chance to win this game, and I kind of wish they weren't playing. Because I actually like the Big Ten Championship. I want it to be a good game. I think they're going to get severely outmatched. The Big Ten West was horrible this year. They were like the best of the worst, so sorry, Northwestern. Please keep it competitive.
I know, not to bring it up. I know you had a rough week last week,
but
God. How good did Ohio State look last week? I mean, that was
they waited
against Michigan
the entire season to play their best game. I feel like every season, they mess around with teams, but Urban Meyer, when he gets to play Michigan, he just gets their team ready to play and destroys them. I don't know what it is, but Urban Meyer owns Michigan. I have to admit that as a Michigan fan, but they're going to own Northwestern. Sorry, Northwestern, you have no chance.
Yeah, they are. I think coming off that really big win and just being the better team overall.
Facts.
Definitely. Moving into some Netflix news. Netflix teased their brand new documentary coming out about Jam Master Jay and his murder. They're going to do a new series about who killed him. And if you don't know, obviously Jam Master Jay, this was a huge murder case, what year did this happen?
He was 2002, I saw.
Yeah, he was murdered in October of 2002. And so now they're going to kind of tear it apart, talk about what happened. Are you going to watch this?
Probably. I'm a little nervous because Netflix and hip-hop documentaries haven't always gone so well. I know they did the 6-part documentary about G-Eazy, T.I., I forgot, A Boogie, a few other people. It was okay. It wasn't as good as I thought. So I'm a little nervous how they produce it. But the fact that it's still an unsolved murder, I can't count, 15, 16 years later. Yeah. 17,
almost
something like that. Yeah, way off.
Yeah.
Is a little peculiar. So I'll watch it to see what they uncover. Yeah. Obviously, they really have no idea. So it's just a show. So I'll probably watch it. Won't be on my major list of things to do. But cool that they're trying to figure this one out.
Yeah, I love Netflix documentaries, so I'm going to check it out. Can't wait.
The Making a Murderer? I don't know if you ever got to. I know we're watching some of that. It kind of fell off. I haven't finished it because it got really slow.
It got slow?
Toward the end, that half of that season, I feel like they were just making up stuff to review and try to figure out. I feel like they still don't have enough substantial evidence for the Making a Murderer case. They're all over the place trying to figure stuff out now. They kind of lost me on that one.
Oh.
The first season was on point. The second one, I don't think.
I feel like when it just got to the second season, it's just there's no possible way these guys did it, but they have no evidence to prove that anybody else did it.
Exactly.
So everyone's just grasping at straws.
Exactly. They're remaking evidence for, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, so let's check this out, let's check that out. I don't think he's getting out.
Yeah.
I think he's screwed, but we'll see what happens. Next up, Big Ben Roethlisberger of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They lost on the last play of the game. He threw a critical interception this past week on the game that they should have won but lost. He was critical of Antonio Brown, saying that Antonio Brown should have cut the route off as opposed to the way he ran it, which led to the interception. He did this publicly and said it in front of the media. Obviously, that's going to cause some drama within the team. So, quickly, should criticism of players stay in-house?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we're seeing this a lot nowadays, not just in NFL, but, in professional basketball too. And I just feel keep it in the locker room. Nobody wants to hear that. And his whole thing was that basically he had enough clout that he could say whatever he wanted to. And I just feel like he came off real crappy.
Facts. I think Big Ben, he's a great player, but he always finds a way to make a killer mistake when you need him in crunch time. Don't blame your player. Antonio Brown is the best wide receiver in football, or one of the top 3. Don't publicly call him out. Keep it behind closed doors. Why are you trying to create some animosity between you and the guy that you're actually going to need in the playoff run? When you made the mistake, you threw the pass, take it on the chin, you're the quarterback. Why are you trying to blame something else? Right. And I agree with you. You should keep those things in-house. Argue about it, fight about it in the locker room, whatever you want to do. But when you're in the media, it's your team, especially you as a quarterback. So I think that's a mistake, and I think that's a lot of the reasons why they don't win. Big Ben always puts his foot in his mouth once per season, and I think he just did it again. Hopefully Antonio Brown doesn't go ape on him, but unfortunately I think he made a big mistake. They should definitely keep those in-house.
Yeah, absolutely. People look at the quarterback to lead the team, and if you're just talking smack to the press, how can anybody really respect you?
Facts.
Yeah, terrible. All right, moving on to some music news. Who won the Tory Lanez Joyner Lucas rap battle?
So after the first round that they went through, I was like, man, Joyner Lucas, Torey Lanez should give up. Like he can't really mess with Joyner Lucas, and Joyner Lucas is overall a better rapper. Torey Lanez just makes hell of songs. Like he's just a great song maker. So when they had the first round, 2 songs that they rap battled on, Joyner Lucas killed him. But the second go round, which is why Torey Lanez didn't respond after that, I think Torey Lanez actually got him. I think Joyner Lucas like remixed like the Fifi song or something he did. Or ZZ, I forget what he did. Wasn't as good. So unfortunately, I have to give the win, just like Torey thought, to Torey Lanez based off of default. But still, long term, Joyner Lucas can rap. I like him. He's dope. I know you've been off the grid, so you probably wouldn't get a chance to listen to it.
Yeah, I haven't even caught up, to be honest, but I did think it was so funny that at a concert this past weekend, Torey Lanez like declared himself the winner. He just basically was like, yeah, Lucas, I want to offer you this moment right now. Give him a good moment of silence. Rest in peace. His career's over. I won this. Joyner Lucas, we killed you. It's done. And I was like, ooh,
right?
Confident.
But then they agreed to do a song after.
Right.
So
that's what all this stuff is about anyway. It's just about publicity. I feel like the majority of these beefs aren't even real.
They even admitted that they don't dislike each other. It's kind of like just for the sport.
Right.
Where Torey's going wrong is saying, I'll challenge Pusha T next. Just stop. Like, you don't want that Pusha T. Like, and Pusha T's not going to respond.
Right.
Like, he's never going to respond. He's way better than Torey Lanez. It's not even worth it. But I think take your little victory over Joyner Lucas. He's still coming up in the game. Don't go at Pusha T or anyone else. I think you should chill out, buddy.
Agreed.
Lastly, Elon Musk. This guy's always saying something crazy. I was on LinkedIn today. He says that you must work 80 to 100 hours a week to change the world. He works over 120 hours per week, allegedly. You down to work 100 hours per week?
Hell no.
No?
Is that a real question? No.
Who would ever work 100 hours per week?
Elon Musk.
Yeah, one random person. And I promise you, he does not work 120 hours per week.
How many hours are in a week?
How many hours in a day? I'm kidding.
Wait, do you really know this?
No,
okay, I just make sure.
25, right?
24.
4. Duh. But so obviously adding that up by 7. Of course, my math brain's dead.
You mean multiple? Wow, we sound so dumb. 168 hours in a week, and he says you have to work 100 of them to change the world.
Not buying it, buddy.
Did Martin Luther King Jr. work 100 hours a week?
I don't know. Let's ask him.
Yeah.
I don't think. You thought about that. You're like, wait, what? Duh.
Ask him. Let's
can't
put him on the podcast real quick.
We can't ask him. Let's
I
call
don't know.
him.
I just think that that's excessive. I just feel like, how can you really? And I just have this problem with our mental health anyway, and how much we all work. I feel like 8-hour work days are too long. I feel like 5-day work weeks are too long. We just get in this productivity mode and knocking stuff off our to-do list instead of actually doing things that are productive in the long run and looking at the bigger picture. I know I get stuck in this all the freaking time, and if you're working those many hours a week and you're not taking care of yourself, how much are you really changing?
Absolutely.
You have to have downtime. You have to have vacations. You have to have time for yourself. You have to have hobbies. Your whole hobby cannot be work. That's how we kill ourselves.
Yeah, I watched what your roommate put up about productivity and
yeah.
Actually,
I swear to God, he was speaking at me on that too. Not my roommate has a blog. It's the breakup artist, JoshuaGWaters.com, and he wants you to break up with productivity and just knocking things off your do list. And I mean, that's my battle all the time. I don't take enough time for myself, and I just don't understand how some of these entrepreneurs do it without just running themselves into the ground.
Absolutely, I think people like to be busy just to be busy. Yeah. It's I have to check one thing and the next and after the next. So it's you're never really done. It's a never ending list.
Well, and I don't even think it's just people like it. I think it's this societal norm that we put ourselves in, this 9-to-5 corporate life, and you have bosses and you have deadlines and you have things you have to get done before the end of the day. And it's when does it all stop? Even just 4 days of going off the grid and not answering phone calls.
Right.
I know I'm gonna be so overwhelmed next week, and that's stressing me out. And I'm trying not to let it stress me out, but it's just hard. Who wants to work that much?
Don't cry, okay? Don't start crying on the podcast. That would be a first. Just don't start crying. But yeah, no, I totally get it. It makes a lot of sense. You need time to yourself and just.
What about you? Could you work 100 hours a week? Could you work 80 hours a week?
No, I wouldn't do neither. I'm more of the method of working smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
I enjoy what I do, whether it's work or the podcast or anything like that. But I still know when to shut it off and do my own thing or go to the gym or go to the bar, hang with friends, this, that, and the other. Like, you can't just work all day. That's where the mental health kind of is running to the ground. So if you're working 100 hours a week, please stop. Like, you can still make a lot of money. You can get rich by doing it a smart way and not running yourself into the ground.
Word up. Let's get to the clown of the week,
And then we'll get up out of here. Can I go first?
Yeah.
So I'm giving mine to Jim Harbaugh. And it's funny, I feel like this time last year, when either they lost to Ohio State or their bowl game, I gave it to him then. And unfortunately, I have to give Jim Harbaugh, University of Michigan quarterback, the clown of the week once again. Great coach. He's helped Michigan out a lot. They're a lot better than they were 4 years ago. They have great recruits that they get. They went 10-2 in the regular season. Great season. Most teams and programs would kill to have that opportunity to be 10-2 and go to a New Year's Day or better bowl game. That's awesome. That's fine, well, and good. But now, after his loss to Ohio State, he is now 0-4 against a team that they essentially hired him to come in and beat. They are paying him, $7 million per year, which is top dollar for a college coach. And basically, when you get paid that type of money, they're bringing you in to win championships and beat your rival. Not just beat Michigan State, not beat Wisconsin, Penn State, or whoever you want. They brought him in to beat Urban Meyer and Ohio State, and he is now 0-4. Not even that, the way he lost this past Saturday. He played with an outdated offense that he made no adjustments to help Michigan get points on the board. Yes, they got 39 points, but a lot of it was in mop-up time. That game was over a long time before that. 2, he had the best defense in the country and couldn't figure out how the hell to stop Ohio State from running the same crossing route over and over again. Whoever Dawson, or I forget Watts' his name is, number 28 from Michigan, I'm sorry, you're the cornerback, and you are never making the NFL based off of that game alone, because Ohio State, whatever they did, they game planned as you as the weak link, and you got exploited, man. I feel bad for you, but you played the worst game of your life. And Jim Harbaugh made no adjustments. His defensive coordinator made no adjustments. It was an embarrassing day to be a Michigan fan. They've been getting ripped on all over the media. You've been brought in to beat one team and one team only, and you've made no changes. So you have to figure out this offseason, change up your offense, do something, but you have to beat Ohio State. If you lose to Ohio State next year, I promise you, you're getting fired. Still a great season, though, but that can't happen. Jim Harbaugh, I love you, but you have to get the clown of the week.
Cool. My turn?
Your turn.
Okay, awesome. So my clown of the week goes to Masin Elije. This is the transgender woman who identifies as a gay man who just outed Dwight Howard for being gay. And I'll tell you why it goes to him. Because he ranted on Twitter about how basically he had met Dwight Howard at a bar recently, or an event, and they started a quiet relationship, and then they broke it off because Masin Elije found out that Howard had been seeing someone else and attending trans sex parties. So, of course, like all great trolls do in 2018, he took it to Twitter and outed Dwight Howard on Twitter, basically said that, put all his personal business out, how they had met, what they do together, all of this stuff, and had basically just outed him, just give all his personal information out on Twitter in the world. And I just think it's so messed up because, believe it or not a lot of people really care about Dwight Howard's sexual orientation. Like, do whatever you need to do. You're a fantastic basketball player. Live your life. And I just feel like he was a jealous ex-girlfriend. He was mad that Dwight Howard wasn't faithful. If you thought you were going to be dating an NBA basketball player who was not out as gay and he was going to be faithful, you're freaking crazy, because even the straight ones aren't faithful, and that's ridiculous. And I feel like he's all, no pun intended, butthurt right now because Dwight Howard didn't want to be his and his only. So Masin Elije, you are my clown of the week. Leave Dwight Howard alone. Go about your business. Your 15 minutes of fame, it means nothing to us.
And I think he did it before, again, to Playboy Cardi. He put out a lot of false stories as well, among others. So this person's definitely begging for attention. I don't care about Dwight Howard's sexual orientation. If he likes men, women, who cares, do you? But
yeah, or men that used to be women, or women that used to be men, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Who cares?
It doesn't matter. It is funny though that he's reportedly out for like a butt injury. So I'm not gonna lie.
That is funny. Poor guy.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. We still love you.
I think that unfortunately he should just come out now at this point. He needs to admit what's going on, or else it's only gonna get worse. If you live your truths, they can't use it against you. So I think at this point, and it sounds like there's some evidence to say that it's at least some of it's true. He's just gonna have to come out with it.
Agreed.
So we're going to get up out of here. We got a lot going on this week. Busy weekend with Chicago Podcast Festival. Once again, Sunday at 7:30, you'll see us on the stage at Chicago Theater Works with Southside Heat Podcast. Very, very excited. We'll also be at one of the shows probably this weekend to support as well. Make sure you check out our show on 247liveculture.com as well, too. Anything else before we get up out of here?
Nope, that's it.
Absolutely. So we thank you all for supporting us, making us Chicago's #1 podcast. More to come. We'll see you Sunday. This has been episode 68. The B.Hun with my homie Cait, and we are out. Peace.